Hey guys, we're back for a new instalment with Kiwi95. I'm on my brand new character for the Elsewhere update, Smokes with Bones. I couldn't help it, a bit of play on words. Moreover, we're going to go straight into the application of Necromancers themselves because everyone's asking a lot of questions. I've been asking questions, my friends have been asking questions, and hopefully in this video I'm not only going to give you a little build to try, I'm going to show you a montage, but I'm also going to tell you some basics about being a Necromancer healer. So of course everyone knows that I like to play healer. I will only play healer forever, and I won't change that. But Necromancers are very, very, very good AoE healers. As you can tell already, you know, they've got the ability to have their Spirit Mender, they've got their ability to tether onto corpses, they've got the ability to fear with their little agony totem, and well, they can heal massive amounts with AoE with this burst heal right here. They've got their own self heal, which is a stronger version of Breath of Life, so everyone likes to love that a little bit, and it also gives resistance to your friendly players, or on turn of that you can have corpses and it can heal a secondary player for the full effect. So a lot of people are saying it's better than Breath of Life, so on and so forth. I'm 50-50 on it. I prefer the resistance version. I prefer playing helping my friends out, giving them buffs. I'm playing with two attack skills. My Scythe, I was originally playing with Blast Bones as well, however it didn't really work for me that much because it was too much. I don't really like Blast Bones. Trail's too long, it's got 8-second uptime. The 8-second uptime is a little bit dodgy because it takes about 3 to 4 seconds to summon itself. Then you've only got about 3-4 seconds of runtime. If the player has run away from the original summon position, it's well, the Blast Bones has to chase after them and then jump after them. And if they don't get there in time, they just fall to the floor dead and don't do absolutely anything. And of course, due to the mechanic of it, you can't even activate a second Blast Bone to run after them until the original Blast Bone has died. So as a healer, I wasn't really enjoying that aspect as much because I had to be using it at point blank range for it to have any effectiveness. So I've stuck with just the Scythe. Everyone's loving up the Scythe at the moment because not only is it a great spammable AoE, well, conal AoE, it heals a ridiculous amount as well. You can see on my bar, I am out PvP, but it is healing me for 4,699 a hit. It would be halved inside PvP, but yeah, you know, it's one of those. We all have our battle spirit, but also it does a healing over time effect. I've gone for the Hungry Scythe morph. The healing over time effect is absolutely amazing. Of course, it heals additional amounts for up to 5 enemies in the area. Generally speaking, I am invincible inside a Zerg if you're spamming this. With the amount of healing received and healing done that I have from passives and various skills, it's amazing. Like I was saying though, guys, it's Necromancer healer. It's a whole different kettle of fish though. A lot of people were saying on the forums that it's all about positioning. I 100% agree. It is all about positioning. Whereas Warden healing, you had a lot of mobility. You could change your position quite viably no matter where you were. Necromancers, you really have to think about where you're putting your feet. You have no movement increase, so you've got no expedition, you have no sorcery, you have no savagery. A lot of people are saying that Necromancers already need to be nerfed. Yes, there are certain aspects that need to be nerfed. However, from what I've noticed, they only have a high damage output, they only have a high healing output. They have almost zero defense, they only really have one stun. You know, one good stun. They have access to vulnerability, both minor and major, which does help group play, but solo by themselves, I've seen Stam DKs, Maj DKs, Maj Sorks, Stam Wardens, and the whole lot absolutely destroy Necros. I know it's within the early days, so not everyone's going to have their muscle memory on point compared to their main characters, but yeah, there's a lot of utility missing from Necro, so you have to make that up. Like I'm saying, Necro is a group play kind of character. But we're going to jump into my build, we're going to show you what I've been doing, and at the end of this, like I said, there'll be a little montage for the group play that we've been doing with Five Guys Guild. So let's just get started. I'll show you the gear I'm running. It's a very basic setup. I'm using the Pirate Skeleton shoulder pieces and the headpiece. Generally speaking, the resistant flesh skill that you have for your instant burst heal, it gives you minor to file. So I wanted to use Pirate Skeleton because that constantly gives you minor to file as well. So if you're already giving yourself Minor Defile, you can't double give yourself Minor Defile, but you can give yourself Major Protection. And it's got 12-second uptime, you know, about 70% uptime in total. It's very, very good to use alongside Necromancer. I've seen a lot of other Mage Necros using it. It's quite good to use. I'm thinking about changing to Troll King, Earthgore, or even Symphony of Blades, because recently with the patch you may have noticed healing done percentages have been increased to be alongside the healing received percentage increases from set bonuses. So as everyone knew, you get 4% healing received increase, whereas you would only get healing done percent by 2% instead of 4%. However, this patch they have increased it all to 4%. So any piece of healing gear or armor or whatever you've got that gives a healing done percentage increase will be 4% now instead of 2. So you can really stack healing percentage done on healers. So if you ran Troll King, for instance, that's 4% right there. If you ran Battalion Defender on one of my other builds, another 4% makes 8%. And then of course you could run Transmutation, you could run Gossamer, you could run a few other different little things like that. That would really help the build, and you're almost doubling your healing output just by having a couple of extra percentage. But anyway, let's get back to the armor. I'm using Shackle Breaker just to give myself a little bit more magical recovery. Necro really struggle with their Mag Sustain. I myself am struggling with Mag Sustain. I've heard a few other people talk about they're struggling with Mag Sustain. So I'm trying out Shackle Breaker just to give myself a little bit more sustain, and it is helping. I did originally try Shulk's Cuirass, of course the Shulk Exoskeleton set. Very good to use because of course having the minor heroism constantly really helps with those high ultimate costs. So if you want to not run Shackle Breaker, I recommend trying Shulk's Cuirass instead, or the Shulk Exoskeleton set even. But I am still running Transmutation. I am going to change that to Gossamer soon, because as everyone knows, Gossamer gives major evasion. Major evasion this patch is going to be key to keeping yourself and your group alive. A lot of the Necro skills are AoE. A lot of the other classes have had all of their AoE buffed, so you need AoE reductions. You need minor and major evasion somewhere in your group somehow. Wardens, they had the constant minor evasion from their Deceptive Predator. You don't have that on Necro, of course, but you do have access to the Gossamer set being a healer, which can give major, which is a straight 30% reduction to AoE damage. That's straight 30% reduction to flesh Atros, which are killing everyone at the moment. I'm killing a lot of people with Atros too. We'll get onto that later. But it's giving major vulnerability. That's the main issue. This new ultimate from the Necros is giving you major vulnerability, which is making you take 30% more damage from everyone else's bombs as well. So Dawnbreakers, bloody your Destro ults, everything like that, your proxy deaths, you're taking 30% extra damage from those. So the Atro isn't doing much damage itself, but it's everyone else on top. So Gossamer is very high recommendation. I'm just running Transmutation to give myself a buffer until I get my Gossamer set sorted. But try Transmutation or Gossamer, it will work either way. Definitely try it out. My stats are 32k Magicka, 2k Mag Recovery unbuffed, 20k health. It does go up to 2.6 with the Battle Spirit. You can see my other recoveries, 16.7 stamina, because of course I don't have much speed utility, so I'm having to dodge roll more. This patch they have given you immunity for 2 seconds after soft CC immobilizes, so yeah, you've got a little bit of immunity right there to help you out. A bit of spell damage too. If I go to my other bar, it's a little bit lower, but that's my restoration bar, so that's neither here nor there. We're going to go to my skills because the skill setup here is very important. It's going to be difficult for you to know what you want to use on a healer straight away. It took me a little while to figure out, and there are a few different things that I will change later on. Psijic, I highly recommend getting at least Psijic 6 because you can get the Mend Wounds ability. Now Mend Wounds has been reworked for this patch, so the light and heavy attack are normal light and heavy attack powers, from your spell damage, from your Magicka and your stamina, so on and so forth. But what it does do is it heals instead of damaging. So instead of targeting players, you target, or targeting enemies, sorry, you target your friendlies and you will heal them for the same amount as you would do a light or heavy heavy attack. Now the great thing about the heavy attack on this Mend Wounds ability is it restores magicka. It restores about 1250 per second when you're holding the heavy attack. However, the heavy attack also heals at the same time. But by restoring magicka, it gives you the ability to not even have to run a resto staff. So you could run double sword and board on a healer and still be able to recover magicka while heavy attacking. It's a very, very good thing to try. Think about a build with it. I'm going to be putting it on my build when I get the chance. However, like I say, my skills are currently the Renewing Undeath Morph, just so when I consume some corpses, I get 3 negative effects removed from even myself and my allies. Purging is very key at the moment. Well, there's a lot of AoE, there's a lot of damage over time. Purge, purge, purge. Everyone loves it. It keeps everyone alive. Stops you from being snared. Stops you from being stunned. You get me. You get me. Hungry Scythe. We already ran over this. It's stupidly OP at the moment. It's probably going to get nerfed very slightly, but the healing output on this is ridiculous. Use it to keep yourself alive inside of Zerg, and it does a remarkable amount of damage. Believe it or not, I've got plenty of killing blows with it. Radiant Mage Light. It's a standard, you can't miss it. You need that you need that Major Prophecy because you can't get it from anywhere with the Necro, and the reduction from the stealth damage is just it's second to none. It's not only for yourself, but it's for the group that's in your radius. So, like I say, it's second to none. Resistant Flesh. I didn't go for the morph that gives you the second heal because you've already got plenty of AoE healing with a Necro. What you need is a good buff. So being able to give people spell and physical resistance equal to half the amount you heal is amazing, because if you crit them for, well, my tooltip there, unbuffed, is 10k. If I can crit them for 12k, I'm giving them 6k resistances like that. It's ridiculous because it's a separate buff as well on top of their original resistance buffs. It stacks with Bloodspawn, it stacks with everything else. Yeah, you're silly not to try it, basically. My last one is Expunge and Modify. I wanted the ability to be able to restore magicka and stamina from a separate source because, of course, their mag regen is so low. It does cost health, so you have to be careful when you're using it, but it's only 1800, so you can, if you've got your healing over time skills running, it doesn't even matter. You can spam it and you won't lose any health. Highly recommend using Glacial Colossus. It costs quite a little bit, but like I was saying before, the Major Vulnerability is a ridiculous debuff that you need to have in your group or even by yourself. 30% extra damage for 3 seconds. It's self-explanatory. I'll show you them in the montage video. You get some ridiculous bombs. Lastly, on my resto bar, of course you've got your summoner's armor. I didn't want to go for the one that pulls people in because if you're trying to run away you won't be able to, and plus it reduces the cost of my spirit mender. Agony totem, because of course it gives minor vulnerability too, which increases the damage they take by 8% as well. It fears, gives minor protection, sorry. It's all round really good buffer. Braided tether, amazing heal. It's only level 3, so it's only going to get stronger. It should be about 20k over 12 seconds to myself and my allies, and my healing done is increased by 3% just for having it slotted. Generally speaking, 12 seconds, 20k heal. Wow, really good, especially when it's AoE if you go for the braided tether version. Yeah, really recommend using that constantly. Now, it does cost a corpse to use, so it's very hard to keep it running constantly. However, this is where the Spirit Mender comes in. Of course, I am using Mutagen. Everyone knows the Mutagen tooltip. You know why I'm using it. I've explained plenty of times in my other videos. Amazing heal over time, and of course, it removes harmful effect and burst heals if you go low. I'm using the Goliath as my other ultimate. I will probably put Animate Blast Bones there instead, though. It does cost a ridiculous amount of ultimate to use, but it's a res that you can use in combat, so it's one of those. Either Goliath or either that, but I will be putting my Resto Staff Alt Heal there instead once I have it, because of course, brand new character, very low restoration staff. I haven't quite got it sorted yet, but anyway, I was going to talk about the Intensive Mender and some of the applicabilities of Necro healing. So you get a corpse from Bone Armor and you can get a corpse from Intensive Mender. As you can see, Intensive Mender has to die for me to get a corpse, and then you can tether. Great. You got to wait 8 seconds each time. No, you don't. So for a corpse to become active from a Necromancer's skill, you have to have gone through half the duration of the skill for it to become applicably worthy of a corpse, you know. So of course you've got 19 seconds on your bone armor. So in 9.5, when it hits 9.5 seconds, or about 8 seconds, you know, 8 to 9 seconds, I've worked it out as, I'm going to press it again, and as you can see, it drops a bone armor. But as you can see on my action duration reminder, it's now at 14. I press it, I don't get one. So you have to be careful, you have to watch your things. Intensive Mender is the same, it's an 8-second duration, it's going to hit 4 seconds, I'm going to reuse it, I've got a corpse. So that's where you're getting your corpse generation from as a healer. Blast Bones was great, but it was really hard to see my own corpses here and there. Of course, you know, the Mender is the main source because it's a 4-second corpse generator. So you can pop the Mender there, the swap bar, and then of course this does a corpse as well. So the AoE heal skill you've got is amazing. You can burst heal constantly with it. It's instant cast, 8-meter radius in a 28-meter range. Amazing. But if you consume a corpse, it will also do a heal over time effect for pretty much the same amount it burst heals over 5 seconds. Really, really good, but you have to be careful how many corpses you're consuming, because well, like I say, if there's too many corpses in one area, it will just consume all the corpses and you won't have any left to reuse for your braided tether. You want to be able to do both of them basically, if possible. When you're in a high fire situation, you want to be able to pop both of these as AoE heal over times, keep your Mender going, keep your tether going. Tether is more important than the heal over time from this, because as I already explained, it's nearly 20k over 12 seconds and it's ticking. It feels like it's faster than every 0.5 of a second, but I haven't quite worked it out, but it is ticking, as you can see, very, very quickly. Yeah, that's kind of all I can really explain to you at the moment, because there's plenty of things that are going to be changed. There's plenty of things that I need to get sorted on this as well. I have no Undaunted. Like I say, don't really have full Mages Guild either. Haven't even got full Resto staff, nor do I have all my passives. So the montage you'll see is group play, not really any of my 2-mans like you're used to, but I've got low passive skills. I haven't even really got my alliance skills either. So my healing's lower than normal, my magic recovery is lower than normal, my potions don't do as well either because of course I don't have any of my potioning. I only recently just finished my heavy armor trades. I've got none of those either, so I am literally the bottom of the bar of being able to heal at a high potential. But the potential of the Necro healing is there. You will see it in my video. You can of course see it from some of my vague explanations in the video. Play it yourself though, that is the main thing that I'm trying to come across here. Play it yourself, find out the little tricks with Necro, help each other, and let's see what happens, eh? But enjoy the video, thanks for watching, subscribe if you like it, and drop some comments as well. Thanks guys. In, go inside.
We'll be coming right out.
Well, we all got bombs.
When we come out, if they're still dancing,
we've got bombs on the
let them dance.
Get ready,
If they're not,
3,
kill them.
2, 1,
Everybody
go.
dies.
My intro.
Yeah, they're being careful. They were watching. Right, go mid-step. They're gonna bomb us. Stack healing. Lucky up here. Okay, ready to bomb back. 3, 2, 1, my entry now. Go. Wipe. Back down. Okay, ready to hit 3. Mid-step. 3, 2, 1. Hit them now. And they're in. Keep going, boys. Keep going. Stacking that healing pump out. Keep up. Push down. Ready? So they've got off. Chain push. Okay? Take push. 3, 2, 1. Take push now. Ready? Pull. Pull to any level. Pull back now. They're bombing. Ready to pull bomb. Space is full. 3, 1 now. No. Don't hit Mike.